can't have a song without words. So for me, I like to ensure that I try to end off every piece positively and try to encourage people, of course, look beyond what you're facing. Every day is not going to be the same. Some days are going to be tough, some days are going to be easy. So it's all about using the words to inspire, sometimes to make people laugh, because we need that. Sometimes it's to evoke the cry from them when they need to let that cry out. But it's just to, help people to stay woke and be cognizant of everything that's happening around them, to know that there is a God, to know that nature is beautiful, and to know that life is meant to be lived and to enjoy it to the fullest and to
Lynette,
love your loved ones.
Lynette, if I could, one moment. So we just had a little technical difficulty that was brought to my attention. We've been recording, however, we weren't actually live on all of the platforms. So we just showed up live. So I just want to backtrack it just a little bit for those that are just tuning in. We had a little technical difficulties. However, we are Wide Awoke Wednesday. We are Wide Awoke Wednesdays podcast. I am one of your hosts, Queen Essence,
I'm
along
your
with,
other host, Tiffany Marie.
yes, and we are honored, and it is such a pleasure to bring on our very first guest, Lynette, also known as LA, Rabsett, from the Virgin Islands. I'm just going to backtrack the question that was asked and allow the poet to repeat the question. We were speaking about the idea of expressing your gifts and your talents and the impact that it can and will have on the world, and the importance of leaving a legacy. And the question that was presented is, what type of legacy, what ideas are you looking to impart to the listeners or the readers? Because she does have a published book, okay, and she's published in journals, okay. So we want to know what idea it is that you would like to impart to your listeners and your readers when they come across your poetry.
Sure. I want my leaders to absolutely enjoy my work. I want them to be inspired. I want them to think far outside the box. I want them to listen to the words and just enjoy the flow. And it doesn't matter what the topic is, because all poetry is not about smile and laughter and inspiration. Some days are dark, and sometimes we write that way. I usually try to end off my pieces with something positive, and even if it's not something positive, because sometimes you need to cry, sometimes you need to evoke that cry, you need to
Yes.
evoke that laughter. So it's about waking people up and just sharing love through these words.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, do you think your emotions are generally represented in your pieces, or is it more logic, more mental, maybe spiritual? Is it a spiritual component? Tell us a little bit about that.
I would say it's a combination. Very often I end up writing about different topics. So I'll give you an example. Recently, we had a climate change conference. So I had to write something about climate change. So in there, the spiritual aspect came in terms of the way we take care of ourselves is the same way we should take care of our natural spaces. And it was all about the mental with, okay, we need to do better and challenging the government to do better. And it was all emotional because I put a call to action out to the persons, and these were
Mhm.
ministers of environment who came into our territory for this conference. But it was letting them know that I am part of the change and I need them to help us all to change, whether it's through, legislation or whatever it is. So it's using the words and, taking every little aspect. So depending on what you read from me, like I said, my writing is all over the place. So sometimes I pull song titles and I create a poem. So I have a whole poem with Michael Jackson song titles. Other times I play with things from the Bible. So I have a poem that pulls particular scriptures and then I add my twist to it. So it's like a call and response. I have a poem, speaking from a young woman talking to her mother about the challenges that she's facing and saying, Mama, you prayed for me to be strong. So it depends on what it is, but I think you'll definitely see a part of me in every piece that I write.
So that means that you're multifaceted within your own self. So your poetry reflects that.
I would definitely say that. And like I said, I write on a variety of topics. I have topics about, from when HIV/AIDS was a major crisis. I have poems about that. I have poems about planet and people in harmony, poems about men and sharing love for men, calling men to action to do better with themselves, poems of love for women. So it's like I said, my writing is all over the place, and typically, especially when we get writing prompts, they tend to challenge us to go even further, to dig deeper. And I must tell you, I love writing prompts. So any group that's out there, add Ellie Rapsat because I'm always willing to try to write on different topics.
Beautiful. So with that being said, would you like to share a piece with our audience at this time?
Sure, I will share a piece with the audience. And strangely enough, it's titled A Smiling God. I
Mm.
often think that God laughs at me as He builds me. I'm not trying to be cynical, I'm not trying to be hypocritical, but I'm intrinsically focused on being a better me. And as God builds me, I know He must enjoy comedy, like these thick of it situations, my constant innovations and big time preparations. And then the plan changes. I know He smiles as I think I know it all and that I can't fall, but God knows I need to stumble because I need to be humble. So He smiles at me, tripping, failing, and trailing because I'm being developed. It used to frustrate me, but I learned that you can't learn if you don't do. And I've done, been undone, and been the unlucky one. I know see life as a growth opportunity because I understand that God must build me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Love it. That was awesome.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Very relatable. Especially with the time that we're in. I think
Mm.
that type of motivational poetry, it touches on the reality that people are experiencing at the same time imparting some hope, right? In understanding the process that you're in. So thank you so much for sharing. And where can the listeners find that poem at? Where is that poem? Is that in the book, in the journal? Where is it at?
I actually don't think that poem is anywhere yet. I don't think I
We got
even put it on
exclusive? Yes.
because usually I publish the poems on my blog, Words of Ribbon. So there's quite a bit of stuff out there on the blog. It's probably about maybe 100 and something poems there. My collection, I want to think, is almost about 350 pieces spanning from all the way back then to now. But what I realized is that when you want to send poems to journals, they usually say it can't be previously published. So over the
Right.
past 2 months, I've pulled back from posting stuff on the blog. I more talk about the
Mm,
journey. So later today, I'll write a blog post about all the amazing things I've done in the month of July.
beautiful. And what's the website again? So I could type it out and put it in the chat.
Sure, it's Words of Ribbon. Let me get that properly. Yes, so it's Words of Ribbon, all
Ribbon.
one word,
Mm-hmm.
dot blog,
.com.
no, dot blogspot.com.
Mm-hmm.
I could also put it
Got
in
it.
the chat as well because
I
I have
got
the
it.
live link.
Okay. Send there. All right. Tiffany, did you have anything you wanted to ask about?
Yeah, so with the prompts that you've been giving or that you've experienced, how have they helped you grow? Like, how have they helped you grow as a poet? I'm sorry, my words are jumbled this morning. But the prompts, you said they help you a lot and you love them. So, how have they helped you evolve as a poet, like grow with your poetry, your writing?
Well, firstly, they have grown my collection tremendously. So there's one group that I'm in with Papi, and big shout out to Papi Woodard because she was one of the first people to give me an opportunity. And she had someone post 30 days of challenges. So my collection grew by 30 pieces, and the different prompts, they were all over the place, whether it's telling you to think that like you're a tree or that you're in a tight situation. But went past the boundaries. I was like, you know what? I can do this. And I lived up to the challenge. And I actually, I'm in love with some of the pieces that I would have written for those challenges. And then there's another challenge that we did in another group that's Poetic Edge with Ashley Edge. And it was all about animals. So I have some pieces that I'm not the biggest animal lover, but I was able to write even like a little quiz. So I wrote this poem, I recorded it, and I sent it to all my coworkers, and I sent it to different people to, and I even performed it at a couple of the online readings just to see what people would think the answer to the question is. So I like things like that because I've never written like that before. And we grew up with the limericks. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like an extended limerick, you could say. So the prompts are always good for expanding your collection and helping you to think outside the usual box. Because my writing process used to be, okay, maybe I may have a word of inspiration that comes to me and I start writing it. Or maybe I have a situation that pops up and I say, okay, I'm going to write about that. Then I have this one friend, somehow every time she and I talk, I get an idea for something. So I have some poems that were inspired by those conversations. But the prompts help me to now go further than that and to expand the writing and expand my thought process as well.
Beautiful. So, where is your poetry currently published? Where can people find your works of art?
Okay. So I have published a Kindle book called Be Inspired Poems by Lynette Rabsett. And it's only $3 on Amazon. I think it's about 15 pieces in there,
Only
hand selected by me.
$3.
Yes, only $3. Because when I started off this journey, I realized I'm not going to become rich being a poet, but it's a bigger picture involved because it shouldn't be about, okay, well, I want to make money. I want my work to get out there. I want people to read my work. I want people to, end up using my work, let's say in textbooks in the future. So people like Mutabaruka and Langston Hughes, you look at their journey, you look at the type of work that they've written. I've studied their works in school. And I would like to see my work get to that level. So I'm happy to sell it for just the $3. By the time Amazon does what it has to do, you get little or nothing, but it's okay because at least the work is out there and people can appreciate it. So that's
Definitely.
one option. And then there's a few, and of course, Paul's Poetry Magazine. If you once you
Yes.
log on to Pulse Poetry Magazine, every month you will see at least two poems in there from me and the other awesome poets in there. So I encourage everybody, check out Pulse Poetry Magazine online, the Facebook page, because we are doing some awesome things there.
Yes. Awesome.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And on that note, when you go to Post Poetry Magazine's website, you can also help support the platform by purchasing merchandise. We have merchandise for the Post Poetry Magazine, and we also have merchandise for the Wide Awoke Wednesday podcast as well. So, yes. Okay, so um, I'm having a little technical difficulty. I'm gonna see what I got going on with this, and I'm gonna turn it over to you, Tiffany.
Okay, perfect. So, where where can, like, what platforms do you all have? Do you have um music, not music, I'm sorry, do you have like Apple Music? Do you have your poetry on Apple Music or Spotify, YouTube? Where could they, I know that you have the website. Where else could they find you at, like as far as social media?
Sure. I have my Facebook page, LA Rapsat, and I also have the business page, Lynette Inspire VI. I have my YouTube. So I guess if you just search LA Rapsat or Lynette Rapsat, you could find me. I'm also on Twitter. But I have a few things up on YouTube, even some old poems when you know the when you had the old webcams and the microphones and not the best quality in terms of how it looks, but the words remain the same. The performance remains the same. So you can
Yeah.
find a lot of my stuff on YouTube. I actually uploaded quite a few the other day. So once you search for Lynette Rapsat or LA Rapsat, I think I'm quite easy to find. I think I'm the only Lynette Rapsat in the world.
Mm,
She said, "Mm." That's
that's funny
awesome.
because I remember when I was little, I searched my name and my name came up as a book author with my name. So when I publish mine, I won't be the only me. I won't be the only me. So yeah, consider yourself very special.
Let's see here.
So we're getting close to wrapping up. We have 5 minutes left, right? And I would like for you to share with us one more poem, right, before we, let you go. However, before that, before you share one more piece, could you tell us something about you that people would find surprising, like after reading your work, being exposed to your thoughts, your emotions, like we talked about, your views, your creativity. um what's one thing that people would be surprised about you after getting acquainted with you from reading your work?
It's so funny because I share so much stuff on social media. I think everybody would know the key things about me. They know that I'm a gardener, so I have my backyard garden. I have basil and thyme and rosemary and things like that. I think most people know that I'm a human resources manager, so that's not a secret. And I think people know I have an obsession with taking pictures of clouds and lizards because they're all over my Facebook feed. Something
Okay.
that's really unique about me. I have my kids. I have my husband. What is unique? What is unique? I love Subaru cars, which is not unique because everybody knows I drive a Subaru.
I mean, but it is because people who read your poetry don't know you have a thing for lizards. Okay, so we could stop there.
It's true.
A thing for lizards.
For
Let's
taking
dig into
pictures
that
of them.
just a little bit. Do you have lizards in your house?
No, they're not in the house. They're outside because we're in the Caribbean. So there's different types, different sizes. We don't have iguanas where I live. Well, in the area where I live, they're on the island. But we have a lot of little garden lizards, and somehow I always am playing music and the lizard passes by and I take the pictures. So I have this one poet friend named Toya Foy. Yes, her whole government name is out there. And she's like, please take that down. Why are you posting that? So I'm always taking pictures of lizards and clouds.
Beautiful. So you enjoy and appreciate nature.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm
Um,
always in my garden. I have carambole, I have mangoes, coconuts. That's me. If I'm not on the computer
Nice.
or if I'm not relaxing, binge watching TV, I'm in my garden doing something.
Oh, we love that. We love that. Thank you so much for
That's
sharing that
wonderful.
piece of yourself with us. And if you would be so kind to share with us a piece from your book, the one that's only $3, y'all, $3 on Kindle, Amazon Kindle. Go ahead and go support. Get her book, okay?
Get that.
If you can
Get
share with
that.
us one poem from your book, and we'll go out on that note.
Okay. I had another piece in mind, but I'll pull up the book and then do that piece from there for you. for you guys. I might do the Bob Marley poem. I think that might be pretty cool to
Okay.
end off with. So let me just pull that up quickly. Okay, so let me find that piece so I can share with my lovely people who've been so awesome with me today.
We appreciate you coming. We appreciate the viewers tapping in today for our very first episode of Wide Awake Wednesdays. You can find us back here live every other Wednesday at 11 a.m. And we're
11.
going to go out on this poem. You said 11 a.m. Eastern, right? Make sure we specify Eastern.
Eastern.
Eastern time. Eastern time. And soon as our guest is complete, we're going to end today's live stream. So, are you ready, Miss Lynette?
Yes, I am. I am ready. So I'm going to close out today with Bob Marley Vibrations. As I catch a fire and stir it up, jamming in my mind is how to satisfy my soul. There is so much trouble in the world, but yet I feel like an iron lion in Zion. I know I'm never waiting in vain because this exodus is more than a natural mystic. I ask myself, could you be loved? But I know that while you feel I am on a Rastaman vibration, I'm just going to chant down Babylon and then I'll get up, stand up, because the system that was designed to screw us will never beat us. Because this one love, positive vibration is all we need to live up, free up, and sing the redemption song. Thank you.
One love. Thank you.
One
Thank you
love. I
so
love
much.
it.
That is a great note to end today's broadcast. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence and sharing your beautiful forms of art. Will you nothing but much success. And to all of our viewers, thank you for tuning in with us at a Wide Awoke Wednesday. And we'll see you in 2 weeks, y'all. Love and peace.
Love and peace.